in a position where you guys have been stripped of your civil rights. Let's say you've committed a little crime and you had to serve jail time, and unfortunately, upon getting out or releasing, you haven't been able to participate in voting because of your felony status, which is essentially an equal sense of being discriminated against. Well, my name is Elvia Franco, and I have done extensive research on the issue of felon disenfranchisement. By proposition of policy, I suggest that felons are in fact American citizens who deserve to vote upon completion of a prison sentence. Today I'm going to discuss the problem associated with felon disenfranchisement, the causes, and the solutions associated with it. So, to get to the problem, we have to first get to the basics. So what is a felony and what is disenfranchisement? Well, felony is described by the U.S. Code Title 18 as an offense punishable by a maximum term of imprisonment of more than 1 year. So a felon is someone who attempts to commit a crime and has to serve at least more than 1 year in a prison system. Now, if we think about what disenfranchisement is, according to a 2008 article called Disenfranchisement Law and Legal Definition by U.S. Forms Incorporated, disenfranchisement refers to the taking away of your voting rights. So felon disenfranchisement is being stripped of your voting rights because of your felon status. Now, the harms of the problem are usually basic to the terms of morality. So if you committed a crime, you shouldn't be stripped of your right to vote as it is stated in the 15th Amendment of the Constitution. So I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that, but it's basically the right to vote as a citizen of the United States, and you shouldn't be stripped of that right. So stripping a felon of that right usually is conflictive to the Constitution and goes against the morality of the Constitution. There's also the issue of the impediment of political participation. So according to Christopher Ugan and Jeff Monza of Disenfranchisement Regimes, there's a growing impediment of political participation due to the rise of convicted felons since the 1970s. So because the prison population is increasing, there's that issue that they can't participate in voting. And it's actually so large that there's up to 3.9 to 4.7 million individuals who are barred from voting because of criminal disenfranchisement policy. So if you think about it, that number is large and it's extensive and it can make a difference in terms of our electoral process. So when they can't vote, that makes a difference, and that's an issue. So if we get to the causes are usually down to the legislative process, and each state, as you know, has a different law set. So they all make different laws, and they don't necessarily coincide with what the Constitution states or doesn't state. So that's a problem. Now, for solutions, there's a solution proposed by Florida State Representative John Coyers, and he defined the solution as acting to encourage Congress to enforce legislation that is in accordance to the Constitution. Unfortunately, Congress doesn't necessarily do its part in enforcing the legislation amongst the states and creating guidelines, so that's a problem too. Now, for what you guys can do, you guys can each contact your state senators, Jeff Flake and John McCain, and express your interest in voting equality. So, today I went through the problem of felon disenfranchisement, the variations of state law that is the cause of it, and the enforcement of legislation that is currently lacking, which could be a solution to the problem. I kind of want to leave you guys on the note that felon disenfranchisement is often associated with discrimination because just a couple decades ago, African Americans and women couldn't vote. So when you're stripping someone of that right to vote, you're essentially discriminating against them, and it's important to keep everything equal. So I'm going to leave you guys with a quote from Wednesday My View by Charlie Crice, who was a former Florida governor. And he says, giving a person a meaningful way to re-enter society, make a living, and participate in our democracy will incentivize good behavior. So who's to say who gets the opportunity to vote and who doesn't? We should all be given a second chance and an equal opportunity to make a difference. So thank you.